Our hypothetical study is titled The Evaluation of Praise and Token Systems on Increasing On-Task Behaviors. This was written by Caitlin Brazeau, Mariella Castro, Megan Foltz, and Isaac Mizuki, and we hope you enjoy our presentation this afternoon. Token systems are well-researched tools for behavior change and have been applied in a variety of instructional and therapeutic settings. The systems typically involve specifying a list of behaviors, finding tokens or points that participants can exchange for emitting target behaviors, and a menu of backup reinforcers that participants obtain by exchanging tokens when they have earned them. A common area we see the application of token systems is in classrooms. Token reinforcement systems have been used to increase on-task behaviors, decrease disruptiveness, and even increase the classroom performance and participation. Past studies have evaluated token systems in a classroom settings with a combination of interventions that have been used, including planned ignoring, praise, rules, and structures, is just to name a few. One of the most common, however, is with praise. As I just mentioned, praise is commonly incorporated into a behavior analytic intervention. Although studies have shed some light on the effectiveness of token systems and praise, there are several limitations within them. First, the designs used for each of the studies, ABA and control group, were not powerful enough to determine a functional relationship in tokens. Another common limitation from previous studies is that they did not evaluate a combination of praise and tokens. Despite the widespread use of token reinforcement systems in schools, with and without praise, there have been no studies on token economies that attempt to evaluate whether praise increases the effectiveness of token reinforcement systems or whether token systems plus praise are more effective than praise and token systems alone. Finding which would be most effective would inform teachers and practitioners which method to be used for decreasing without including any unnecessary components. In addition, because sometimes praise increases inadvertently while using a token system, it may be hard to know whether the effects of token systems can be separated from praise in studies that have been previously conducted. The purpose of the study, therefore, was to determine whether token systems are more effective when praise is included, and how this is compared to conditions where praise and token systems are used alone. 3 typically developing children diagnosed with ADHD participated in the study. All children attended the same elementary school where they were enrolled in inclusive classrooms and were selected for the study due to a history of off-task behaviors in the classroom. Adam was an 8-year-old boy who was enrolled in a 3rd grade classroom and had been diagnosed with ADHD. He was capable of following simple tasks but was unable to finish tasks in a timely manner. Cora was a 7-year-old girl who was enrolled in a 3rd grade class and had been diagnosed with ADHD. She was capable of following instructions but was unable to complete the assignments in a timely manner. Harrison was a 9-year-old boy who was enrolled in a 4th grade class and had been diagnosed with ADHD as well. He was capable of following instructions, but he often did not complete his tasks and was disruptive during class. All children attended the same elementary school where they were enrolled in a typical class and were selected for the study due to a history of off-task behaviors in the classroom. All of the children attended their typical classes in the morning, but were moved into a special education classroom to participate in the study. All sessions were conducted in a small classroom that included tables for each participant to work on, tables, chairs, and materials related to the assignments such as a chalkboard. For the dependent variable on data collection, on-task behavior was defined by eyes focused on the teacher when talking, eyes focused on the task materials, and in-seat behavior during class. Data were collected using momentary time sampling on-task behavior during the 6 of the 5-minute intervals. If the student was on task at the end of each interval, the teacher placed a star on the child's sticker chart. Sessions were conducted once a day after lunchtime between 1 and 1:30 p.m. Each condition was conducted for a week at a time. Trained data collectors observed the sessions by sitting at a table in front of the room where all of the students could be observed while the sessions were conducted. Inter-observer agreement was scored using an interval-by-interval procedure. This agreement was calculated by comparing the 2 observers' reporting of the occurrence of on-task behavior in each interval and dividing by the number of intervals of agreement by the total number of intervals. The mean inter-observer agreement obtained during 35% of conditions was 95%. A multi-element treatment design was used to compare the effects of tokens with praise, tokens without praise, and praise alone on on-task behaviors. The design was chosen to help compare the three treatments against one another to determine the most effective treatment for each individual. Each treatment was alternated each week to help control for any threats to internal validity. By alternating the conditions, it reduces the chance of sequence effects as well as history effects. A social validity questionnaire similar to the study conducted by Langthone and McGill was given to the parents and teachers of the children to assess social validity of the treatment procedures. The results indicated that both the parents and the teachers viewed the procedures appropriate and acceptable to conduct. This is an example of the questionnaire that was included. The 5 following questions included: I feel this assessment was successful for the child. I feel the assessment helped increase the child's on-task behavior. I think the child experienced distress during any point of the procedure. Overall, I had a positive reaction to the assessment. And finally, I believe the assessment is likely to result in permanent improvement in the participants' of on-task behavior. The spectrum ranged from strongly disagree, disagree, undecided, agree, and strongly agree. For teaching the token system, before the experiment was implemented, the researchers conducted initial training for the token system. The first step in introducing the token economy was describing to each of the students what the tokens were and how they could each earn the tokens. The experimenters explicitly stated to each of the students what they needed to be doing during the sessions in order to receive a token. Each student was told the amount of tokens that they needed in order to receive a reward, such as extra time for recess, a treasure from the treasure box. The second step was to model the procedure for every token delivery. So once all the students had been in their seats for at least 5 minutes, each were given 1 token on their sticker chart. Once all 3 students had received the first token, the researchers modeled the procedure for each token exchange. The researchers then had each student individually turn in his or her own sticker chart and pick out a toy from the treasure box. The researchers conducted this 3-step process in order to ensure that each of the students understood the token economy and what was expected for them in order to receive rewards for on-task behaviors. During all conditions, students were instructed to sit in their assigned seats and work on their assignments from earlier classes. The teacher sat at her desk with the teaching aid as they worked on paperwork. The teacher started a timer to begin each interval. When each 5-minute interval was over, the teacher and the aide would look up to see if the 3 students were on task. Depending on the condition, the teacher would provide either praise, tokens, or tokens and praise contingent upon on-task behavior. To aid the ability for the children to discriminate between the conditions, a blue ribbon was hanging on the chalkboard during the praise condition, a green ribbon during the token conditions, and red ribbons during the token and praise conditions. For our 3 conditions, as mentioned earlier, we had a token alone, and praise plus token. In the token alone condition, each child was given their own chart for the week, and each token was represented by a sticker in the shape of a star that the participant received contingent on on-task behavior. A menu of backup reinforcers was created for the exchange of the stars. Participants were given a token after each of the intervals if they were on task. Once enough tokens were earned, the participant was given a choice between 2 backup reinforcers that could be exchanged for the tokens at the end of the sessions. Backup reinforcers remained constant across subjects and time. For the praise alone condition, the teacher would provide praise to students engaging in the target behavior at the end of the 5-minute interval. Praise was given specific to the task that the student was working on at the time the trial had ended. For example, if a student was working on a math problem, the teacher would say, "You are doing a good job working on those addition problems." For the praise plus token condition, the teacher would provide praise and place a sticker on the star chart contingent on on-task behavior. A menu of backup reinforcers was created for the exchange of stars. Participants were given a token after each of the intervals if they were on task. Once enough tokens were earned, the participant was given a choice between 2 backup reinforcers that could be exchanged for the tokens at the end of the session. Backup reinforcers remained constant across subjects and time. Before taking a closer look at each individual's results, The overall results suggest that token and praise in combination is the most effective in increasing on-task behavior for the 3 participants in the study. For Adam, Cora, and Harrison, the tokens alone condition showed low levels in the data, producing percentages of on-task behavior below 50% for the 2 conditions. The token condition continued to produce low levels across all 4 conditions for the 3 participants. In the praise condition alone, all 3 participants' data showed steady states of responding in both trend and level. In the tokens and praise combination condition, all participants' data showed high levels, all above 85%, for on-task behaviors. The data showed a steady trend for all participants. If we take a closer look for Adam's graph, the average percentage of on-task behavior in the token alone condition was 43%. The average percentage of on-task behavior in the praise alone condition was 69%. And finally, the average percentage of on-task behavior during the tokens and praise combination condition for Adam was 93%. Looking at Cora's graph a little bit closer, the average percentage of on-task behavior in the token alone condition was 45%. The trend was stable for this condition. The average percentage of on-task behavior in the praise alone condition was 76%, and the trend and level was stable for this condition. The average percentage of on-task behavior during the tokens and praise combination was 90%. Finally, for Harrison's results, the average percentage of on-task behavior in the token alone condition was 36%. The trend was towards an upward level. The average percentage of on-task behaviors in the praise alone condition was 70%, and that reported a steady state of trend and level. Finally, the average percentage of on-task behavior during the tokens and praise combination was 96%, and it showed a steady trend. For the discussion portion of our study, the results suggest that praise increases the effectiveness of a token system in increasing on-task behaviors. In addition, praise alone was more effective than using a token system alone for increasing on-task behavior. Studies suggest that praise should be incorporated with token systems to enhance their effectiveness, and that there are, in rare situations where only one can be used, praise should be chosen. A potential threat for internal validity that the study might not have controlled for is the possibility of the carryover effects that may have occurred. Because each of these conditions were ran for a week, it could be that the effects of one intervention might have carried over to the next week. A potential threat to construct validity is that it may limit the ability to draw conclusions regarding which aspect of the intervention was effective is the possibility that the attention and praise of a specific teacher could have explained the effects attributed to the interventions. It may be hard to separate the influence of the teacher who administered the intervention from the effects of the intervention. For the limitations and future research of the study, a limitation of this particular study is that the data were only taken on task behaviors. Data was not taken on other classroom behaviors such as disruptive behaviors. Future works could determine whether increasing praise would make token systems more effective for reducing disruptive behaviors. In addition, our study did not include a baseline, therefore it is not known how much performance in either treatments differed from no treatment. However, as our study's purpose was to compare the treatment's condition, a baseline treatment was not necessary. Future studies could also modify the study by including a control condition within the alternating conditions to determine how much of an effect the treatment has against a baseline.